Life doesn't hand out instruction manuals, especially for being a man. It's a journey riddled with trial, error, and more than a few faceplants. For me, the essence of manhood starts with taking ownership. Every mistake, every shortfall, every success, it's all on me. There's no magic wand, no knight in shining armor coming to rescue me from my failures. And honestly, that's the beauty of it. Owning up means stepping into the driver's seat of your life. It means staring your fears straight in the eye and saying, "Not today." Sure, it's terrifying, and yeah, sometimes you'll wish you could crawl back into the comfort zone of excuses. But there's a fire that grows inside when you take that leap. It's the same fire that pushes you to try again after falling. Life's punches don't stop, but neither should we. Owning your life means building resilience, learning from every fall, and refusing to give up no matter what. So, what's that one thing you're ready to take ownership of today and turn into your personal victory? Let's talk about demons, the personal kind. Addiction, bad habits, or that voice in your head that whispers you're not enough. Everyone's got their battles, and trust me, I've faced mine. Whether it's endless scrolling, gaming, or something darker, these habits can feel like chains holding you back. The hardest part? Starting. Breaking free feels impossible at first because those demons become part of your identity. But here's the thing, they don't define you. You do. Every small victory, skipping that extra drink, turning off the console, or choosing a walk over another hour of procrastination, chips away at those chains. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Some days it's a war just to get out of bed, but every step forward matters. The process is slow, frustrating even, but worth it. Don't let setbacks trick you into thinking you've failed. Progress isn't linear, but every step counts. So, what's the first step you're ready to take today? Because no matter how small it seems, that step could be the start of something big. What does being a man even mean anymore? For years, I thought it was about strength, hiding emotions, and keeping a stiff upper lip no matter what. But let's be honest, that's a recipe for burnout and loneliness. True strength isn't about pretending to be invincible. It's about resilience, vulnerability, and growing through life's challenges. It's about admitting when you're wrong, asking for help when you need it, and owning your story, flaws and all. Being a man means standing tall, not because you're fearless, but because you face your fears head on. It's not about the size of your paycheck, the car you drive, or the house you own. It's about character, integrity, and how you treat people. Society might try to shove us into a box of stereotypes, but real men break the mold. We're more than what the world expects us to be. So, I'll leave you with this. What kind of man do you want to be, and what legacy do you want to leave behind? There was a time I thought asking for help made me weak. Like being a man meant carrying every burden alone, no matter how heavy. But let's be real, no one can do it all by themselves. Support doesn't make you weak, it makes you stronger. Whether it's a friend who's been through the same struggles or a stranger story that hits home, those connections matter. They remind you that you're not alone, even when it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. Sharing your load doesn't mean you're giving up, it means you're human. Sometimes we just need someone to say, "I get it," and suddenly the mountain ahead doesn't seem so impossible to climb. Asking for help isn't about dependence. It's about building a stronger foundation. So, here's my question. Who do you have in your corner? Because when the weight gets too heavy, having someone to lean on can make all the difference in the world. Faith gets a bad rap sometimes, but it's one of the strongest tools we have. Whether it's faith in God, in yourself, or even in the idea of something bigger than you. It's what keeps us going when life feels like it's falling apart. For me, faith is what helps me see the light when all I can feel is darkness. It's not about blind belief or ignoring reality. It's about holding on to hope when everything else seems lost. Resilience and faith go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. Life will knock you down. It will test you, break you, and make you question everything. But faith is what helps you rise again, stronger than before. You don't have to be religious to understand it. Faith is about believing in your ability to keep going. So, what's the thing you hold on to when life gets tough? Because whatever it is, that's your anchor, and it might just be the thing that saves you. Let's face it, there's no shortage of advice out there, especially about what it means to be a man. But not all advice is good advice. You've got people saying, just be yourself, as if that's enough to fix everything. But what if yourself isn't working? Self-improvement isn't about staying the same. It's about becoming better. At the same time, you don't have to follow every motivational guru who promises you the world. Take what makes sense and leave the rest. Not every piece of advice will resonate, and that's okay. The important thing is to keep asking questions and figuring out what works for you. The journey to becoming a better man isn't one size fits all. It's messy, unpredictable, and uniquely yours. So, what's the best advice you've ever heard? And what's the worst? Because sometimes, knowing what not to do can be just as valuable as knowing what to do. Motivation is great, don't get me wrong. It's that spark that gets you moving, the thing that gives you that initial push. But here's the truth. Motivation doesn't last. It fades as soon as things get hard. Discipline, on the other hand, sticks with you. It's not flashy, and it's definitely not easy, but it's the thing that gets you out of bed when you'd rather stay under the covers. Discipline is waking up early to work out, even when you're dead tired. It's saying no to what's easy and yes to what's right. The best part? It builds momentum. The more disciplined you are, the stronger you get, not just physically, but mentally too. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the more it grows. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up day in and day out, no matter how you feel. So, what's one thing you can commit to today that will make tomorrow easier? Because discipline isn't about today. It's about building a better future. Failure. Nobody likes to talk about it. But let's be real, it's a part of life. And not just life, but growth. Every time I fail, it felt like the end of the world. But looking back, those failures taught me more than any success ever did. Failure humbles you, shows you your blind spots, and forces you to adapt. It's not fun, but it's necessary. Imagine playing a video game where you never lose. Sounds boring, right? Life's the same. The losses make the wins worth it. Failing doesn't make you weak. Staying down does. Every time you get back up, you're proving to yourself that you're stronger than the setback. And let's face it, success isn't built on wins alone. It's built on resilience, on learning what doesn't work and trying again. So, when was the last time you failed? And more importantly, what did you learn from it? Because failure isn't the end. It's just the beginning of your comeback. Society loves to put people in boxes. Be tough. Make money. Never cry. As men, we're told to fit into this rigid mold of what real masculinity looks like. But let me tell you something. That mold is broken. Being a man isn't about meeting someone else's expectations. It's about defining your own. Maybe for you, being a man means being a great dad. Or maybe it's about chasing your passions. Whatever it is, it has to come from you, not from what the world tells you. The truth is, we're not all the same, and thank God for that. Real men don't fit neatly into boxes. They break the mold, challenge stereotypes, and redefine what it means to live authentically. So, here's the big question. What expectations are holding you back? And how are you going to shatter them? Because the moment you stop trying to fit the mold is the moment you start becoming who you're meant to be. For the longest time, I thought strength meant keeping everything bottled up. Show no weakness, right? But let's be honest. How long can anyone keep that up? Real strength isn't about pretending nothing gets to you. It's about facing your fears, owning your emotions, and being brave enough to let people in. Vulnerability is scary. It feels like standing in the middle of a storm with no shelter. But it's also where growth happens. Being vulnerable doesn't make you less of a man. It makes you more human. It's in those honest moments, whether it's admitting you're scared, asking for forgiveness, or just saying, I need help, that we find real connection and strength. True strength isn't about building walls. It's about breaking them down and building bridges instead. So, here's my question. When was the last time you let someone see the real you? Because maybe, just maybe, that's the kind of strength you've been looking for all along. Let's talk about money, cars, and all that other shiny stuff society loves to tie to being a man. Sure, material success feels good. Who doesn't want a nice car or a house with a view? But let me tell you, those things don't define you. I've seen guys with big bank accounts who are completely lost and others with nothing who are some of the happiest people I know. The truth is, material success is just one piece of the puzzle. It can't replace character, integrity, or the relationships you build along the way. Chasing money for the sake of it often leads to emptiness. It's like trying to fill a bottomless pit. Instead, success should be about purpose, providing for your family, giving back, or building something meaningful. So, what drives you? Is it the paycheck or the legacy you want to leave behind? Because at the end of the day, your worth isn't measured by what you own, but by the life you live. Growing up, I didn't always have someone to show me the ropes. A lot of what I learned about being a man came from trial and error, and honestly, some of those errors were brutal. That's why having a mentor or a role model can make such a difference. Whether it's a coach, a teacher, or even a friend, having someone to guide you can be a game changer. A good mentor doesn't just tell you what to do, they show you by example. They challenge you to be better, to think bigger, and to push through the tough times. And here's the thing, you don't have to know them personally. Sometimes a role model can be someone you admire from afar, someone whose story inspires you to keep going. So, who's been that person for you? And if you don't have one, maybe it's time to look around. Or better yet, maybe it's time for you to be that person for someone else. I invite you to subscribe to my channel and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support keeps me moving forward. I appreciate you being with me in my thoughts.